Do you remember elementary school, when it was so much harder to get from place to place? Well, of course you do. Everyone gets from point A to point B in different ways, by car, bike, motorcycle, roller skaters. However, some rely more on their own body than any kind of vehicle. People known as traceurs will draw a straight line on the map, ignoring any walls, trees, buildings, curbs or other obstacles on the way. They then use their imagination to overcome the barriers. Parkour is a movement with a long history. It is more than a movement, it's a culture. There are three basic principles: simplicity, effectiveness and safety. Frankly speaking, we are probably not so active as we should be. When was the last time you exercised or jogged in the morning? Traceurs must train on a daily basis. We train all around the city, usually near a metro station because it is convenient. For example, we like to train at Arsenalna and Lukyanivska. Today we're going to follow the example of these young athletes and learn more about parkour, where it's from and why it emerged in Ukraine. According to Alexandra, who has 5 years of parkour experience, parkour dates back from the end of the 19th century. There was a man named Georges Hébert who served in the French Navy. During his expeditions, he traveled to Africa. He observed the routine of locals, watched them hunting and adapting to life. They seemed to move more naturally, like animals do. This inspired him to develop his own military training program called the Natural Approach.
Він розробив свою систему, яка втілив у тренування військових. Ця система називається натуральний метод.
One of Hébert's students, Raymond Bell, carried on the tradition and proved its usefulness outside a war. He was a fireman and rescued people from extremely dangerous situations with the help of his acrobatic system. Raymond's son, David, followed in his father's footsteps since he was a child. He practiced gymnastics, athletics and martial arts. David would go on to build the first parkour team, Yamakasi. Together, they made obstacle courses, jumped between puddles and buildings. Soon they realized that it was more than a game. They understood it could become a sport. This is how the first parkour team, Yamakasi, came about.
Згодом вони зрозуміли, що це трохи більше, ніж просто розваги, і що це може реально бути в цілу дисципліну спортивно вилитися. І таким чином був заснований, власне, паркур. Це перша команда Ямакасі.
In Ukraine, parkour became extremely popular after the movie Yamakasi and District B13 were released. The first wave of parkour's popularity came from the movie District B13 and Yamakasi. Foreign movies were becoming more popular at the time. People started to go out in the street, try to climb unfinished buildings and explore the city while learning parkour. Ever since then, Ukrainian traceurs have been jumping over walls and climbing buildings. The first question beginners ask is, what should I wear? Does what I wear matter? Actually, the clothes you wear are not an important issue for traceurs. According to the philosophy developed by David Bell, style shouldn't matter. A traceur is an ordinary person who enjoys an extraordinary hobby. The choice is simple. Wear something you feel comfortable in and think you look good in. It's important to have comfortable shoes and pants. Any kind will do, even jeans. The main thing is they must allow you to move freely while improving techniques on the wall, in the sand and all sorts of surfaces. Today, enthusiasts divide the hobby into 3 general styles. They are freerunning, across streets and parkour. What unites them is that they are street disciplines and are practiced without special equipment. Freerunning is moving along the street while performing beautiful acrobatic moves. It's about beauty and elegance. Freerunning, unlike parkour, embodies complete freedom of movement. There are no starting or final points. The second type is across street or street acrobatics. Athletes perform complicated moves, handstands, jumps from high places, and all kinds of flips. There are a lot of elements, but all of them are based on the same fundamental principles. An athlete in good physical shape and with bright imagination can perform a wide range of movements and mix them together. Parkour is a massive set of skills. The numbers of parkour moves is endless. Beginners have to train 2 or 3 times a week and daily work to improve their flexibility and command of the basics if they want to perform the most complicated moves. Basic moves have to be learned first. They are the key to further progress. All other moves are based on the basics. For example, to do the monkey means landing on your arms while jumping. Vaulting involves swinging your legs and body around your arms while they are placed on a ledge.
Все они основаны на переносе тела, переносе ног вокруг поставленных на парапет рук.
After learning the basic vaults and rolls, a traceur moves on to more complicated moves.
Roll-up, так называемый, это забег на стену.
A roll-up is running onto a wall with the goal of overcoming particular height in the most rational way, putting your legs on the wall. A cat or a cat leap is jumping on the wall and grabbing it with both hands, while also putting both feet on it.
Roll – это элемент, который используется для безопасного
A roll is an element used for safe landing. It's based on a classic roll on the ground, but using one's shoulder.
через плечо.
Because parkour is an extreme sport, which is physically demanding, many types of injuries of different levels severity are common. Joint and ligament injuries are the most common. Bone fracture occurs less often, mostly coming during street acrobatics. Parkour is a rather dangerous sport. Traceurs' life and health depends on their decision-making skills. Undoubtedly, there are safety rules to avoid injuries. One of the main rules is not to perform exercises or moves without warming up. Training starts with a warm-up and stretching. The second rule is not to perform moves if you're not sure you can do them. Another important rule is to check where you're going to put your hands when you land. The landing spots mustn't be slippery, and there should be no glass or any sharp objects. These days, you can't surprise anyone with women's football, hockey or rugby. Parkour is a street movement, and many women are just as inspired by them as their male counterparts. Men and women perform these impressive acrobatics side by side. On the one hand, women find it much more difficult to perform some of moves which men can do. While a man can perform these moves on their first try, a woman might need longer to prepare. Female traceurs are a product of urbanization of the 21st century. Of course, it's a challenge for them, both psychologically and physically, but they don't give up. One thing about women is that their self-preservation instinct is more developed, so they're more afraid to perform any move. Even jumping from one balcony to another can be an entire process. They have to psych up, then psych up again, then call their friends for support and then jump. According to the philosophy of parkour, there are no borders, just obstacles which can be overcome. Ukrainian traceurs have no barriers of any kind. Young people train hard to become stronger and more confident. Some view it as just a pleasant way to spend their time, others as an exercise, but for most traceurs, parkour is a lifestyle. An art which is accessible to everyone.